G'day, Steeler Nation. Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. My name is Mac. I'm your host. Now, we are still going through, I guess, a troubling time with the Dwayne Haskins, events that happened over the last few days. It's still crazy, right? But at some point in time, we do have to start talking about football. And during the last few days, the Pittsburgh Steelers have signed two players on their restricted tenders. One being J.C Hassenauer, the center, backup center, and we'll talk about that. And another player who is quite key. If you ever look back, in 30 years' time, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, you may not remember him for his stats or for how many years he might play with the Steelers, but you may remember this guy for the hit he put on Derrick Henry. It was the hit that pretty much broke the universe, opened a new realm to something else. I've watched it just before recording this video again when Robert Spillane took the soul, as James Harrison talks about, the soul out of Derrick Henry, and it was a fantastic hit. So the Pittsburgh Steelers have now signed him to a one-year deal as well. So we'll talk about J.C. Hassenauer, and we'll talk about Robert Spillane signing a one-year deal and what it means for the Steelers, right? So, but I do want to get into, J.C. Hassenauer first. So the backup center, right? He has been playing with the Steelers, I think, for about 2 years now. He's actually started in his career. He's played 28 games. He's heading into his second year, and he started 7 games. Now, I am not the expert to talk about the offensive line. What happens with me when I see the offensive line, all I really want to see you do is firstly, don't commit penalties. Do not commit penalties. Do not, do a good play. There's a massive run for 40, 50, 60 yards. There's a big play on a passing down. And the next minute you see the yellow flag come in and there's a penalty and you've got to come back 15 yards or 5 yards for a false start or something of that nature. I think discipline is quite key for an offensive line, even for a center. We've all seen that video out there too in the NFL where the football, they go to snap the football and everyone false starts except the center. So he's the only one holding the football. So signing J.C. Hassenauer, he's now been a Pittsburgh Steel for 2 years, just for the 1-year deal. It's kind of like a little, test it, prove it year deal. I don't think he'll be the starter, and we'll go through the depth chart in a minute. I don't think he'll be the starter, but it's the good addition that the Pittsburgh Steelers seem to do, right? He did start the playoff game last year, and we did end up losing that versus the Chiefs. So I think Kendrick Green might have been injured in that playoff game from memory. So Hassenauer isn't going to be, I don't think he'll be a starter, but if something does happen throughout the year, being, 17 games, if Mason Cole can't fill in or if Kendrick Green can't go at center, there could be competition there. And it does also breed competition in that locker room for that center position. And if we do, say, for instance, we can't play a bit at guard or Dotson or Daniels might go out as well, we have experience there also for Hassenauer to fill in maybe at guard. So it's a good move. It's not a very exciting move, as a lot of the stuff that the Steelers do, but I kind of like it. And I want to show you guys, what I think. And I think, the majority might agree with me here. I'm not too sure if Mason Cole is going to come over and win the starting position at center. But for me right now, I do see Kendrick Green at number 1, heading into his second year. And then pushing forward, number 2 will be Mason Cole. So he came from the Arizona Cardinals. We signed into a 3-year deal. And as you can already tell by the end of this clip, you'll see that my number 3 will be J.C. Hassenauer. So I think that these 3 blokes will be fighting for number 1, but I think the Steelers end up going with Kendrick Green at number 1 there. So that would be interesting, but I do like the identity of what the Pittsburgh Steelers are building with the depth right there. So for me, it's Kendrick Green at 1, it's Mason Cole to back up, and it's J.C Hassenauer just making the team at number 3. And that's pretty good going into the draft as well. That's pretty good. And I'm not a draft guy. I don't know any O-line players. But if you have those 3 blokes right there who are proven players, and I think Kendrick Green needs to step it up too, but going into his second year, full off season, new quarterback behind center, which will probably be Mitchell Trubisky, then you have it pretty good knowing that you have those 3 centers in the depth chart behind you. Right, so I'm pretty happy with that move. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Are you happy with J.C. Hassenauer being 3rd, or do you think Mason Cole could be the number 1 center? Let's move into the second player who signed the 1-year deal. Right, is Robert Spillane. And like I alluded to before, Robert Spillane. If you in 30 years' time, when you're telling your grandkids, you're like, who is Robert Spillane? Well, he's the guy that smashed Derrick Henry at the goal line. And you could hear that crack. It was like a firework going off. Like I heard it all the way over here in Australia. You could hear that massive hit. Actually, I think he bung his shoulder. It hurt his shoulder. And he was kind of like out. He might have been concussed. I don't know. All I remember seeing is watching that game is seeing Spillane run through the line, middle linebacker, pads up, and he met him halfway in the hole and said, "You're dead meat, you're mine," and he saved the touchdown. Now, I do believe from memory as well, I think they actually scored. I think they might have scored after, or the field goal, they scored a touchdown after, but it doesn't matter. At that time, that was one of the best players I'd ever seen a football player make. Spillane go through the hole, one-on-one, knocked Derrick Henry back, and Derrick Henry is one of the best running backs to ever play the game. One of my favorite running backs to play the game. Just pure force. And I think even after the next week when we played the Ravens, Spillane picked off Lamar Jackson off the first or second pass and ran that back for an interception. So in two games, Spillane had the hit on Henry, and then he took the pick 6 back to Lamar. We're thinking, wow, this guy's going to go off, right? He's going to go off in 2021. And I do believe that was in 2020 when we were going through the COVID stuff. And you're thinking, wow, this guy is like, yeah, he's awesome. Now, fast forward to 2022, we have offered the Steelers have offered Spillane a 1-year deal, and the Steelers have brought in Miles Jack to help out with Devin Bush. We still have Buddy Johnson on the roster too, going into his second year. So for me, this is just a good depth signing. But I do want to bring this up one more time while I bring it up. Spillane is greater than Derrick Henry. Like I said, guys, he has been in the league now with the Pittsburgh Steelers for 3 years. He started with Tennessee. Spillane has played 36 games in total. It started 11. 1 interception, which is the one that he versed the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. He's got 1 TD, which is the same one too. He has 4 pass deflections. He has 1 fumble recovery. And overall in his career, he has 112 tackles and 76 solo. And the 1 big tackle on Derrick Henry. Like, let's be real. That was amazing, right? That was amazing. You might go out there now and look up the highlights for Derrick Henry versus Spillane, and Spillane won. It was an amazing tackle. It was just, I've never seen anything like it. Like, in this day and age where you can't hit the players too hard, you can't touch the quarterback. You have to hit them between a certain range between the helmet and the, in the torso. There's only a certain, position where you can hit them. Derrick Henry tried to get a touchdown. Boom, stopped. So yeah, guys, thank you for checking out this video. I'm pretty happy with those 2 signings. I know we have been going through a lot with the Dwayne Haskins situation with his passing, and we are slowly going through the grieving process. And I just wanted to talk today about J.C. Hassenauer signing and the depth. So he'll be, in my opinion, number 3. And then also bringing back like a fan favorite of ours, Robert Spillane, now going into his 4th year as a Steeler, and he's going to help us out on special teams. He will help us out on the defense there as well. He knows the system. He understands how to be a Steeler. He's a thumper. Like, he's a guy that you want, when the defense is getting tired, send Spillane out there to go cause a ruckus and get the job done. So I'm pretty happy with those things. I don't think that Spillane can be a starter, and we don't need him to be. We have Miles Jack and we have Devin Bush and the emergence of Buddy Johnson as well. We don't need Spillane to be a starter. We just need him to say, hey, coach, what do you want me to do? And he'll go and do it. That's the kind of guy I see. And I'm excited to see him as a Steeler again for 1 year. And if he improves himself and does fantastic things, sign him again for another year or two. Just keep this guy on the roster as depth, as backup. That's what we need. So, yeah, thanks, guys. We are going through, the crazy time with Dwayne Haskins, but we're slowly starting to get back into Pittsburgh Steelers talk. So I do appreciate you guys. We are on the road now. I think we're on the road to 500 subs. So if you enjoy the content, think about hitting that sub and that like and that share. Do what you guys need to do. And as always, here we go, Steelers. Here we go.